Well, good morning. I'm Jeff Coleman.
And I'm Debra Pinkerton. Welcome to Morning Light. Many of you are waking up to news that tsunami waves are radiating across the Pacific after a major earthquake rattled Russia last night. Tsunami warnings were issued. In Japan, millions were evacuated. People living along the Pacific coast, including Alaska, Hawaii, Washington, and Oregon, were also affected.
Always a reminder of our need to keep our world in prayer, because there's so many urgent events.
So many things happening all around
Indeed.
us.
Well, there's a surprising new poll of self-identified Christians on the question of whether or not it's important at all to share your faith. The Morning Light panel will weigh in on the findings.
And here's a preview of what's coming up later in the show. All this month, we have focused on the importance of getting active. We've shown you a number of ways to get fit. In today's Body and Soul segment, we're going to introduce you to some Latin music that will get you on your feet and in shape.
I hope we get to see you dance, a little Latin dance.
A little Zumba.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, when President Lyndon Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act of 1964, it outlined discrimination on the basis of race, color, sex, national origin, and religion in public places. The law marked the end of segregation and the dismantling of Jim Crow laws. But this week, a memo from the Trump administration interprets that same law to allow federal workers to, quote, persuade others of the correctness of their own religious views. Of course, as long as it's not harassing or unwelcome.
Certainly some good news.
Interesting development, yes.
And as we know, many politicians fight to keep religious expression out of the workplace and schools. Surprisingly, Barna research finds many Christians agree, and they don't want to share their beliefs publicly. In fact, 56% of Christians view their spiritual life as a private matter.
Does that surprise you at all?
That is very surprising. While 44% say they are more open to sharing their faith with others. Now, this marks a dramatic shift in attitudes. Just 7 years ago, that same research group found 64% of Christians believe sharing faith was an essential part of their faith commitment.
Yeah, I think for Christians, that's the Great Commission,
and
right?
it should be.
Yeah, correct. Well, if policymakers are fighting for religious freedom, especially in the public square, why do so few Christians actually plan to exercise that freedom? Is the politics of faith more important than actually practicing and living out our faith? And what can we do to change it? Our Morning Light panel will tackle these difficult questions. Jeff Wakeen, Luke Covert, and Dr. Dan Spanjer this morning to cover a topic that, look, I know many of us talk about privately, especially in the context of a family. When you have a family member and you want them to be a part of your belief system. But Dan, I'm so glad this is the panel we have this morning, because I know each of you approaches faith with such humility and gentleness. But what is the dilemma here between this idea that my faith is, I do me, you do you, it's private. Why are Christians now suddenly embracing this idea that it is a private, not a public thing?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things playing in this historical moment. One is that we've used Christianity as been part of our culture war and part of our politics for a long time. And I think many Christians are just getting sensitive to the fact that their Christianity needs to be part of that culture conflict, and they don't want it to be there anymore. They don't want it to be a point of contention.
Like culture conflict?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a liberal conservative conflict that's going on in this country for, 100 years or more, depending on how you look at it. And religion's always been a key central part of that, the religious right and the secular left. That's the way we see things. And so post-Cold War, I think there's still a lot of this polarity, right, built into the way people think. And they're afraid their religion is part of instigating that sort of culture war, and they don't want to speak in a way that's now going to further instigate that. So they feel it's more careful and loving if they simply just tuck that thing back away inside.
You are nodding. Why? Is that?
I say the same thing. Yeah,
okay.
I completely agree that that it's become a political statement to say, like, I'm a Christian means all 6 of these other things. Do you know what I mean? Instead of being about Jesus and about the church, it's like there's this other stuff tacked onto it as well. And I also think that it is a little bit of a, it's a performative thing to say, like, almost like what they're fighting for is like, well, let's fight for the right to say this is not actually saying anything. So it's like an easy out, sort of, to say, like, we're going to fight for this, and then when you're allowed to do it, it's like, oh no, I don't actually want to do it. I just wanted to win the points to say, like, I'm fighting for the right to do this that I'll never actually do.
Right, interesting. Jeff, so you're involved with small businesses, schools, other public places. are always in the center of this fight over religious freedom. And you do often, as Luke is saying, hear people maybe go to court because someone was asked to leave a school because they had a cross around their neck or they had a Christian bumper sticker on. And so a lot of money is raised, a lot of movements are built on this idea of protecting space for religious expression. But when it actually not too many people are getting in trouble for telling people the good news of Jesus. It seems, maybe I'm wrong, but in America, that's not the religious battle line. What's going on?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I think for me, it's having the courage of your own conviction, right? It's I see all the time in the marketplace, businesses, business leaders, owners, leaders in our community saying that they want to do a right thing. Yeah, I'm going to stand for this. But when it comes time to actually stand for it and represent or represent, a biblical position without being biblical, right? Like just taking a stand of being a salt and light in a community, people tend to walk toward that line, and then I see them start to back away from it because they don't want the controversy. They don't want, here, I'm going to help you with this, but leave my name off of it, okay? Because I'm going to hide behind it over here, versus having the courage and being bold enough to
Does it surprise you in the business world when you find out somebody is a Christian, for example? I mean, this happens to me all the time where you hear people, there's a conversation going, you're like, well, do you know that person's a Christian too? Like, really? I had no idea, because they never talk about it.
They never talk about it, and I think what it is for me in our organization is to, again, be the salt and light, represent Jesus in a way that he wants us to be representative, and lead the conversation, pull the conversation in, versus coming out into the conversation, right? So as my wife would say, it's against my religion to not talk about my religion, right? Okay, but how are we going to do that? You have to know, like, what's your audience? Who are the people you're talking with? What's around you? And how do you pull them into an environment where it then opens the door to allow you to have a conversation?
There's been a whole generation of kind of evangelistic tools that people use that feel like a formula. And I think there's a bit of a rejection to that like, here's the question you ask. If you were to die today, do you know where you were going to go?
Street evangelism, sure.
And it doesn't sometimes feel natural. What is it? Is there a different way of looking at, in the context of relationships, or your neighbors, your community, or the people you work with, that isn't weird or awkward?
Yeah, I think, and that's part of the problem, right? It really becomes something where you're trying to convince people. You're not trying to pull people into a conversation. You're trying to get them to change their mind or something, get a conversion, and that's been our tradition. And there's some good things to that.
You want the points on the board.
Well, yeah, you see a soul and let's get them saved, right? So I can see that. But I think that what you're seeing work in a lot more missions and missions fields these days is what one pastor called turning up your spiritual volume. It's not a matter of trying to convince them. It's letting them know this is real to you. Like, if I'm talking to you, a Christian friend, I may talk about God in my life. I may talk about the struggles I'm having with my faith. Why wouldn't I say that with a Muslim or a secularist in front of me? They would do the same thing. They would talk about their relationship with Allah or cultural laws or things they're struggling with, because that's a reality. I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just letting you know it's real. And what that then does is allow the other person to go, oh, that's real to you. You're not trying to make me think it. You just really think that's true, in which case now it opens the door to them engaging you rather than feeling like they're being oppressed or having to fight back or defend themselves.
So how do we cross that line from, all right, if we agree at some point that maybe we're not with the 56% of people that believe that we should keep it quiet, that we should hide it under a bushel, right? But believe that we should actually not let our faith conversation leak into normal other parts of our life. How do you cross that line into just being a Christian wherever you are?
Yeah, I mean, I know for a fact you're never going to legislate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there is no government thing that's going to work to be like, all right, now all Christians go, tell everybody about your faith. So the whole idea of doing it from the top of the government, I think, is just, it's great to give freedom. You know what I mean? I'm not against, it sounds like I'm against that. I'm not against that, but I just don't think there's any merit to that. And I honestly think for young people specifically, making something countercultural has huge fuel behind it. So to make it normal and okay and super fine is like really vanilla.
So you said something interesting there, because where the church is growing are places where they're
literally doing church services in cars on the move. with
Right.
CDs because they can't have a building in
Right.
some countries. So it's like pile in the car, we'll listen to this sermon that someone mailed us, we'll drive around, we'll drop you off at like that.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not, you know, pitching that we should go back to that, obviously. I honestly don't know the solution.
But there's something about
something blasé.
freedom and putting
Is
it
that
on
the right
mainstreaming Christianity
Yeah.
that doesn't make it as appealing.
And I completely agree with your point again that it's like, and when I say I'm like when I talk to people, I'm in the arts, so when I talk to a lot of people, most of them are not Christian.
Right.
And when they talk about Christians, they don't talk about Jesus, loving your neighbor as yourself, all these things. They talk about abortion, gay rights, all these.
They assume it's
all
cultural.
And when they talk about Christians and I'm just listening, it's like all of the anti things Christians stand
Right.
for. It's just what they see as
Right.
Christianity. Because when you go up to a podium as a politician, you know, that's what you're talking about.
So Jeff, is that a piece of this too? Is that when we're talking about Christianity, as these gentlemen said so well, we think of it as a cultural term, not about a person, not about a relationship with Jesus. Is that part of the hurdle that we have to come to talk as if he were a real person?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a question of people's being comfortable in their own skin, right?
Yeah.
This is who I am. This is who I'm made to be, and I don't need to be beating you over the head with it, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be who I am,
Yeah.
you know, regardless of what my culture is saying. I think Christianity, Christians get this bad rap because there are so many out there that are like, I'm a Christian, and I just got arrested for a DUI, right? So
There's a disconnect.
there's a disconnect. Like I say I'm a Christian, but I don't behave
But there's
like
grace
I'm a
for
Christian,
the
right?
and forgiveness for the guy who's
There is
or lady.
absolutely grace
Yeah.
for it, you know. I mean, we always look for opportunities and open doors and open windows to have a conversation.
So let me do this in the last minute or so. Let's go very fast around the table. In 20 seconds, what does it mean to you that you are a Christian? What does that term mean to you?
It means that I'm loved, and I'm, you know, my eternity is set, you know, before me.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to be persecuted. I'm going to be judged. I'm going to be loved. You know, you get all of it.
Luke?
Yeah, it means that from before the world was created till now, that I've been bought and adopted without my consent. You know what I mean? By somebody who I didn't even know knew me.
Incredible.
Yeah, I belong to and am created by the God of the universe, who is the true, good, and perfect, and beautiful, and that he's called me his own, and now he expects that I will follow his son and in obedience to his law and his word for the sake of his glory and everyone else's good.
A few people heard this morning. It's no longer a secret at this table, at least.
Oh, wait.
Gentlemen, thank you. Thank you for the courage of sharing your faith this morning. Very much. Well, coming up on Morning Light, the Bible emphasizes the importance of taking care of our bodies and recognizes the value of exercise. Debra is going to talk to the executive director of a Pennsylvania YMCA about his own health journey and how his faith helped him stay fit. And we also want to share an update on Life Cycle's Summer Challenge Ride, which began on Saturday. Earlier this month, David Goss, a youth leader with Life Cycles, told us about the ride from, get this, northern PA to Lake Placid. The team consists of 6 adults, 9 teen boys. The trip lasts 8 days, and the team will travel 350 miles and climb 23,000 feet. So continue to pray for safe travels for that entire team.
The Bible emphasizes the importance of taking care of our bodies through exercise, viewing physical fitness as a way to honor God and maintain spiritual well-being. 1 Corinthians 6:19 through 20 says, "Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit? Therefore, honor God with your bodies." The verse reminds us that our bodies are sacred and should be treated with respect. Welcome back. Joining me is the Executive Director of the Friendship YMCA, Chad Krebs. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Let's talk about the importance of exercise.
Exercise is important for everybody, just for your physical health, again, and your mental health. So you have reduced stress, better cognitive ability. You also have less chance for chronic disease. You have less cardiovascular disease. So just really very, very good for everybody.
Share with us your personal journey with exercise.
Well, as a child, I was kind of a heavier child. And so as I got into my teens, I started to put a more focus in my early 20s on exercise. And I saw what a benefit it was for me to get in shape, back to, just feeling better about myself, better self-esteem. And that's kind of dovetailed throughout my life. So, and then I came to the YMCA because I wanted to spend my time working in a place where I could actually work out and feel better about myself and feel better about the place that I work.
Wow, and now you're the executive director.
Yes.
So what are some of the exercises that you like to do, or some of the equipment?
Well, I've always been a weightlifter, so I like to lift weights, so build muscle and do that kind of stuff. Although as I get older, it gets much harder. So now I focus a little bit more on the cardiovascular stuff. But I use the treadmills and the pre-cores, the elliptical machines, pretty much everything that you see in here.
How has your faith helped you through this journey?
Well, I equate my faith, the Bible talks a lot about being obedient and disciplined in your faith. And so you can really relate that over to what happens in the gym. So, because you have to go ahead and be very disciplined to kind of keep on an exercise routine and to be able to get in shape and really flourish that way.
And once you get into that routine, I think when you exercise, it just makes you feel better.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of endorphins that kick off. You always feel better. Sometimes you don't feel so great on the front end of the workout, but after the workout, you absolutely always feel better.
And for our viewers who may be watching, some may say, wow, I haven't exercised in forever. How do you get started?
Well, you just got to put one foot in front of the other. So it sounds really simple, but once you get started, you just keep going, whether it be walking outside. Again, we did a segment before about just taking even soup cans at home and using them as weights. Really, you can do exercise just walking out your front door, get a dog, maybe even walk your dog. So, but just put one foot in front of the other. And once you get going, you just kind of can build off of that. But it's really just kind of getting out and doing something. I was thinking about this question here and thinking about an old Teddy Roosevelt actual quote, which is called "The Man in the Arena." And it just means getting out there and doing something and not standing on the sideline.
And it's always nice when you have someone else to help you along the way too.
Absolutely. A workout partner can be essential, or a personal trainer or somebody to really get you accountable to coming in and working out and being a part of the gym and staying kind of keeping with it.
And I know many church organizations do have classes where you can go to, or you have groups where like, okay, let's go to the gym and do something like that and exercise together.
Absolutely, yeah. It can be the YMCA, or it could be your church, it could be your neighbors, it could be anybody really, but just getting out there together and doing something, riding your bike, walking around the neighborhood, coming to the gym, lifting weights. I know we always have a group of seniors in the morning that are just, the camaraderie here is so special to see when they get together and they kind of have fun poking at each other in the gym while they're working out in the mornings.
Yeah, and that's certainly wonderful to see.
Yeah.
Chad, thank you so much for being with us.
Absolutely, thank you for having me.
And coming up next on Morning Light, lace up your sneakers and get ready to move with some Latin music. That's coming up next. Stay with us. We'll be back right after the break. Zumba is a fitness program that involves cardio and Latin-inspired dance. Zumba is one of the best-known fitness programs in the world, with more than 200,000 class locations available in 185 countries. The high-energy dance class helps improve cardiovascular fitness while enhancing balance, coordination, agility, and strength. Zumba has remained popular because people of any fitness level and age can burn calories and get fit. We are here at the Friendship YMCA, and joining me right now is Zumba instructor Leon Powell. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about Zumba.
Zumba is a Latin-based fitness class. It started in Latin America. It incorporates all different kinds of music from all over the world, all different types, and it's a great time to have.
It seems really like a party atmosphere. There's a lot of fun music, and it makes you want to dance and move.
That's one of the major components of Zumba is the music and the party atmosphere. It kind of makes the time fly by when you're doing it, and it doesn't really feel like a workout.
Yeah, that's when I was watching the class, you're right, because you're just moving to the music and you really don't realize that you're actually doing things to improve your health. Let's talk about how it does improve your health.
It's a great way to improve your health. Zumba is a full body workout that incorporates all portions of your body, your legs, your core, your shoulders, your arms, and it also helps with muscle toning and cardio health.
Now, how long have you been doing this and why did you get involved?
I've been doing this now for 15 years. I initially got involved because I walked by and heard the music and it looked like a great time, so I just jumped in and I haven't stopped since.
So my question is, you're doing all these different moves. How do you come up with the different moves that you do and you knowing that this is good for you?
Zumba, when you become a Zumba instructor, you join something called the Zumba Instructor Network, and they provide you with the choreography, and you can also go out and make your own choreography.
And for people watching it, they may say, wow, this looks a little complicated. I don't know if I can do that. But you said there are 4 basic steps?
Yes, there's 4 basic core steps in Zumba that you should be doing in every class. A merengue, a salsa, a cumbia, and a reggaeton. These 4 steps have basic breakdowns that are easy to pick up. And once you have those down, you can pretty much go to any class you want and be moving like a pro.
Okay, that's good to know. Now, here at the Friendship Y, you also offer something that's unique, it seems, Zumba Gold Class. Tell us about that.
Zumba Gold Class are geared more towards older individuals or people who haven't taken a class yet or probably have some mobility issues. The choreo is toned down a little bit, the tempo is a little slower, so it's a lot easier on your joints, but you still get a great cardio workout.
So there's really something for everyone. And also the Aqua Zumba. That seems like that would be interesting.
It's really another great workout, but this one's based in the water, so you get the added resistance of the water, and this one's a lot easier on your joints.
So it's probably good, too, when you're exercising, you're in water, so you're not probably sweating as much, too.
Right, the water's going to help keep you cooled down.
So for our people who are watching at home and saying, oh, my goodness, I don't think I can do something like this, what are some things that I can do just at home, maybe just listening to music, that will be an easy way to get involved with Zumba?
Well, just starting to move to music is a great way to get started. You can go online and look up videos for how to do the basic moves. And once you have those down, you can make your way to a class and start moving.
Thank you so much for sharing this with us. And it makes me feel like I need to go take a Zumba class.
There's a spot waiting for you in class.
Great. And stay with us. We will be right back. Welcome back. We are asking you to join us in prayer for a guest who has appeared on Morning Light. Diane Ippolito, Pennsylvania State Coordinator for Moms in Prayer International, suffered a health crisis more than 2 weeks ago. She is currently in the hospital. Pray with us that Diane recovers. And here's a look at what's coming up tomorrow on Morning Light, inspiring and guiding young adults to discover God's calling through apprenticeships, service, and travel. You will hear from one of the founders and from a student who has benefited from the program. And that's a look at what's coming up tomorrow on Morning Light. Now, Jeff, your closing thoughts.
Well, thank you, Debra. Well, when news of a massive 8.8 earthquake struck Russia's far eastern coast, triggering a tsunami, reached our phones late last night, the alerts were enough to drive us underground or to the hills. We immediately thought of family in California or Washington or Hawaii or Japan. And then, like so many other news events, it slowly just pulled us in, as if knowing more meant we could somehow control those events. In the scriptures, the psalmist imagines events just like this: catastrophic, global weather. But he writes a response. Here it is. Therefore, we will not fear though the earth gives way, though the mountains are moved into the heart of the sea. Now that's a scene even the National Weather Service hasn't imagined. So watch the weather, pray for those impacted, but trust the Creator of all these events, who is never, ever taken by surprise. We can live in that truth and that confidence today. For Debra and the entire Morning Light team, I'm Jeff Coleman. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check on your neighbors, and then tomorrow, here's the plan. We'll meet back here tomorrow, God willing.